Good evening. Sorry I'm a little late. My phone decided to pull a few tricks on me. Glad to be here with you tonight on this Saturday night, 7 at 7, 7 days a week. You know, when we begin to recognize how much God has done for us, and especially at this time around the resurrection, we ought to remember how complete the victory was at the cross. Now, I want to take this a step and just kind of back up into John's message here, Pastor John's message, just for a moment. First of all, there was a powerful word said by Jesus, and it was his last words on the cross, and he said, "It is finished." Now, that didn't mean it was an ending. It was not a defeat, but it was a beginning, because there was something to that word, Tetelestai, which is the actual Greek word right there. Tetelestai, to the Greeks, meant paid in full, or the debt is paid in full. So the debt to the people there, he was saying, I've paid your debt. Another one, to the Hebrews, this word Tetelestai, and the translation of it, meant the sacrifice is complete. You know, sometimes when we look around, we see ourselves trying to do something for God, when really we ought to be receiving what God has done for us. We're trying to make something happen that's already occurred. When I pray for people for healing, I'd like to remind them that it's a completed work. And sometimes I say, sometimes our bodies just have to catch up, with what has already taken place. How important it is that we realize that the debt is paid in full. The sacrifice is complete. But Pastor John took it a step further, and he talked about when a Roman warrior heard that word, he knew that it meant victory is won. No matter what they may see going on them right at that moment, that the general or the commander was up on a hill high enough to be able to see what actually is taking place. And while this individual may be going through, it seems like hell on earth, he was hearing a word suddenly being shouted all around him by his men. Tetelestai, Tetelestai. The idea is the victory is won. This thing is over. We're still fighting, but we're winning, and we're winning big. I want to declare to you, sometimes when you're going through something that seems like hell on earth, I want to declare to you the victory is won. It's time for you to start learning to rejoice and hold fast to God's faithfulness, because He is never giving up on you. He is never backing away from the truth that He has for you, the promise that He has for you, and it is a completed victory. I want you to know that I truly believe the cross is the fulcrum point of all humanity, because it changed everything. And it did it in such a way that it caused other people to recognize how faithful God was. Now, I'd like you all to follow with me, if you would, just for a moment. Pastor John said there were 4 things that the cross accomplished. And first of all, it dealt with all sin. And the real problem when we see about the sin, when we think about single sin as an overall, it's really talking about the mindset of a fallen mind, a mind that sees itself as less than what God intended, a mind that sees itself under control of something that God intended them to have victory over. For all people, for all time, once. He did it, all of that at the cross. I want to shout a victory shout here right now, that I'm no longer bound by what I once was. I am now free to be the man that God intended me to be. And I've seen over the years, I've seen the progression of how God has taken me from one glory to another place. And it's all because I'm getting a further revelation of what was done at the cross for me. The second point that he brought out, he said this cross was a total victory, not a partial victory, not even a defeat, as some people teach, that out of this defeat became victory. No, at the cross opened up the opportunity for God to bring victory to us. Without the cross, there could never be a victory over death. There could never be a victory over sin. So that victory is total. Anything that separates us from God, the cross took care of. All we have to do is believe it. I want to keep going back to that. We just keep believing what has taken place. The third thing was the death has been defeated. I like that. I thank God that when I was born again and gave my life to Christ, I stepped over into eternity. Now, my body may wear out and someday just quit working completely. But I, the real me, the man inside, the spirit of man working in there, my spirit will walk right in from death on this earth, right into life in the presence of God. Death has been defeated because I believe it. The next is life is won, and I am living in him. I like that too, to know that I have a purpose, to know that he has selected me. And you can say, no, he didn't select you. You selected him. No, he selected us in the sense that he called for all men everywhere to hold fast to a faithful God and to believe that a good God was doing great things in his life. I want you to understand, when you come to a place of realizing he selected all men to come and to know him intimately and deeply, all we did as believers is just simply go, I volunteer. Yeah, I'll do that. I believe. I want to remind you that tomorrow morning, Pastor John's going to be preaching again, and you're going to enjoy what God has in store for you. It starts at 10 o'clock. I will tell you right now that when you come into a service at Hope City, you're coming into a service where people are expecting the miraculous to take place. We believe that the gifts of the Holy Spirit will be in operation. We believe that our praise and worship will have a heavenly effect on our earthly realm. We believe God. Why don't you join us? I know you'll be blessed. God bless you all.